What's up guys, it's Kayla.
And Jim.
Welcome back to another Meteorology Monday. What are we discussing today?
Today we are going to talk about bombogenesis. Now, that sounds like a very Armageddon-ish type of word. Sounds a little crazy, but we'll actually talk about its origins, what it is. It goes by a number of different names as well.
I guess we should first kind of preface by saying that this is like a winter event, a common winter event, which is why we are discussing it at this time.
That's right. We are coming up to that season where they do occur more frequently. Now, we put a little asterisk next to that because when we mean frequently, on average, probably one a year. They can occur throughout the year. It's not specific to one part of the year, but it is most known for the winter time here in the Northern Hemisphere, especially in the Western Hemisphere, and we'll tell you why in just a minute. But before we get started,
make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you are enjoying what you're seeing along the way. Also check us out on our School of Weather if you would like to learn some of the basics of meteorology and also an in-depth discussion about severe weather.
Now some of you may have heard the term bombogenesis, some of you may have heard it called something else. Some of those other names are explosive cyclogenesis, weather bomb, meteorological bomb, explosive development, bomb cyclone.
And they were just really fixed on explosions.
That's right. They're very violent. I don't know why.
Someone woke up and chose violence the day they were naming this.
Yee. Okay, so we have bombogenesis and various other names, but let's take a look at what this actually means. And we're going to take a definition out of the American Meteorological Society's Glossary of Meteorology. Bombogenesis is defined as a rapidly deepening extratropical surface cyclone with a central pressure that falls on average of at least 1 hectopascal per hour for 24 hours, after applying an adjustment to a latitude of 60 degrees. Using the following equation, where R is the observed pressure fall of hectopascals per hour and phi is the cyclone's latitude. This adjustment accounts for variations in the geostrophic wind speed induced by equivalent pressure gradients at different latitudes. Consequently, it requires a larger pressure drop to qualify as a bomb cyclone at higher latitudes compared to lower latitudes.
It's sending me back to the meteorology school. There's a lot of equations. What is all that about? You were bringing math into this?
That's right. We got a little scientific-y on you there, so we'll go ahead and we're going to break this down a little bit more for you. So basically what that means is a pressure drop of about 24 millibars in 24 hours at 60 degrees north latitude. But if you are further north than that, it actually increases to about 28 millibars per hour in a 24-hour period at higher latitudes. And when you get down to about the 25-degree north latitude area, it drops to about 12 millibars in a 24-hour period to be defined as a bomb cyclone. Yeah,
so quite a large range for the criteria there depending on where you are. And a hectopascal is the same as a millibar.
This predominantly maritime cold season event is usually found approximately 750 kilometers downstream from a mobile 500 millibar or hectopascal trough, within or poleward of the maximum westerlies, and within or ahead of the planetary scale troughs.
So let's break that down a little bit. Cold season, maritime, pretty self-explanatory. If we're using the United States as an example, a great place that you would find one of these bomb cyclones is the Northeast. And to break down the rest of this stuff, we're going to find this bomb cyclone ahead of an upper level trough, which we'll explain with graphics a little bit better.
You can learn more about that in our School of Weather.
Exactly. And it is going to be north of the westerlies, which is this jet of air that kind of goes around the middle of the United States. So it's going to be north of that and ahead of the upper level trough, which is why It's usually found in the Northeast.
So where did the history come from for bombogenesis or all these other variations of the names? So we did a little bit of Googling, and this is what we found. The history of meteorological bombs dates back to the 1940s and 50s, where meteorologists at the Bergen School of Meteorology began informally calling some storms sea bombs, because they developed deeply so quickly, and this kind of development speed was rarely seen over land. By the 1970s, the terms explosive cyclogenesis and even meteorological bombs were being used by MIT professor Fred Sanders, building on work from the 1950s by Tor Bergeron, who brought the term into common usage in a 1980 article in the Monthly Weather Review. So there's a little bit of history behind the naming of these storms and why they named them that way, but let's take a look at where do they occur and why do they actually occur.
Well, as we just discussed a little bit earlier, the majority of them happen over the US East Coast. On average, the US East Coast experiences one bomb cyclone a year, and they are most prevalent from October to March, but they can happen at any time of the year.
That's right. And there are some that can occur on the west coast of the US, and even in rare occurrences over land as well. The main driving force behind bombogenesis is the large temperature gradient boundary over a relatively short distance between a cold continental air mass and a warm sea surface in the Atlantic. Combine that with a powerful intensifying jet stream and a strong mid-level shortwave, this forces air to rapidly rise, low pressure to form, and deepen quickly. As low pressure deepens, the pressure gradient between the low and the high pressure system behind it increases tremendously, which results in significant increase of winds. Rapid rising air motion causes clouds and precipitation to form, and the storm grows and grows from there.
That was a spot-on descriptive definition and A+ graphics. Way to go, editing me.
So how big can a bomb cyclone get?
Well, let's think of the most notable one, which was in October of 2010. They called this the Octo Bomb, and it impacted 31 US states and 6 provinces in Canada, setting all sorts of crazy record lows for barometric pressure across the western Great Lakes and central Canada.
Octo Bomb. It almost sounds like an octopus with all these storms on the end of its tentacles.
I was thinking a bath bomb in the shape of an octopus, but it doesn't scream scary.
So let's look at the effects of bombogenesis.
If you think in terms of a rapidly deepening low pressure system that has sufficient moisture, you will get weather conditions such as wind gusts exceeding 50 miles an hour, heavy precipitation, including snowfall, potentially blizzard-like conditions, wind chill values below zero, occasional lightning, and isolated or more tornadoes in the warm sector. These can lead to significant power outages, downed trees, coastal flooding, impacts to travel, impacts to emergency responders, etc.
So some more recent notable events of bombogenesis include Winter Storm Riley,
Winter Storm Grayson,
Winter Storm Ulmer,
and Winter Storm Nemo.
and we may even do a case study or two on one of those. So stick around, you never know what might come up on the channel.
Yeah, let us know if you're interested in hearing about winter storms. So there you have it, bombogenesis. If you want to learn more about this topic, we will leave all the links that we used to put together this video down in the description box so you can read it for yourself. While you're down there, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Helps us out a ton, doesn't cost you anything. And our Instagram and Facebook if you want to follow our behind the scenes and weather adventure stuff. And also, cannot stress this enough in this video, our School of Weather, since we talked so much about troughs and wind and a whole lot of things that we don't dive too deeply here on the channel, we dive into so much more detail over at our School of Weather. So if this is a topic that really interests you, I highly recommend checking out at least tier 1 of our School of Weather called The Beginner's Guide to Meteorology. Until next time, I'm Kayla.
And I'm Jim.
Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you at the next Meteorology Monday. Let's talk about some of the effects of bombogenesis.
I wasn't looking at the camera.
Let's try that again.
I still wasn't looking.